Greetings, my brothers and sisters in Christ. I am going to be talking about the 3 days of darkness, okay? But I must begin with this dream that the Spirit of the Lord gave me on August the 20th of 2017, okay? Because there was an eclipse on August the 21st of 2017, which is tied in to the sign of the woman on September the 23rd of 2017, all right? So he gave me this dream, and in it I saw myself driving down the road. Okay, I knew the eclipse was coming the next day, and as I told you, the dream was the day before. And as I was driving, I noticed I was facing the sun. Okay, not backward facing. All right, which is the reason why I know he gave it to me, because I have a tendency to forget things. And he knew for some reason I had to be out there that day. And it really didn't even hit me until I got to driving down the road. And as I was looking, the sky had this ominous, spooky look. Like, really. And it looked like it was a veil. Like, say you have shears behind your drapes. It looked more like shears, but it was like layers of them, right? And it's like you could see that something was behind it, which was more than likely the sun, but you couldn't see it clearly, like a veil over a woman's face, all right? Okay, so I'm going to get over here to Revelation, the 12th chapter, because I told you it really did look ominous. I'm going to start with the first verse. And a great sign, wonder, warning of future events of ominous significance, okay, appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and dealing with this eclipse, right? Because it deals with the sun, right? With the moon under her feet, as well as the moon, right? And with a crown like garland tiara of 12 stars on her head, which represents the 12 tribes of Israel, okay? Now, this woman was pregnant. I'm not going to read it all, okay? I'm going to try to hurry and move through it so it won't take me too long to do the video. But we know that she cried out in the birth pangs, right? In the anguish of her delivery. Okay? That's the second verse. And in the third verse it says, and then another ominous sign, oh wow, was seen in the heaven. Behold, a huge, fiery red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and the 7 kingly crowns, diadems, upon his head. So the red dragon is Satan. Okay? And this is dealing with Esau, because the Bible said Esau came out red all over like a hairy garment, okay? Esau was of Caucasian descent, okay? In dealing with your leaders, all right? And if you don't believe it, if you pay attention to a lot of little white babies, when they're born and they come out screaming and hollering, they be red all over, all right? So the bishops was making mention that this, I think, is dealing with the United Nations and NATO. And his tail swept across the sky, and it dragged down a third of the stars and flung them to the earth. Okay, so here the bishops were saying that it was dealing with Judah, Levi, and Benjamin, these 3 tribes. And then he stationed himself in front of the woman who was about to be delivered so that he might devour her child as soon as it was brought forth. And in the 5th verse it says, she brought forth a male child who was destined to shepherd and rule all the nations with an iron staff, scepter, and her child was called up to God and to his throne. This is dealing with our black Messiah, okay? And as a result, in the 6th verse, this woman had to flee into the wilderness, okay? Where she had a retreat prepared for her by God, in which she was to be fed and kept safe for 1,260 days, 42 months, 3.5 years, all right? So that was back when they were in Egypt, all right? And dealing with Mary, all right? So then war broke out in the 7th chapter in heaven. And Michael and his angels went forth, and they did battle with the dragon, and his angels fought but defeated him. But they were defeated, and there was no room found for them in heaven any longer. Okay? And the huge dragon was cast down out, the age-old serpent, who was called the devil and Satan, he who is the seducer, deceiver of all humanity, the world over. He was forced out and down to the earth, and his angels were flung out along with him. Because see, when Jesus ascended into heaven, he stripped him of his dominion. Okay, he demoted him, and he was mad as a result. Okay, and this is why the war broke out. So I'm gonna move on. You can get down here and read the rest of this stuff. Okay, but I want to really get over here to the 14th verse. Okay, we're really starting at the 13th, because it says, and when he saw that he was cast down to the earth, he went in pursuit of a woman who had given birth to the male child. But the woman was supplied with 2 wings. Okay, America, he says, right, of a great eagle, so that she might fly from the presence of the serpent into the desert wilderness to the retreat where she is to be kept safe and fed for a time and half a times 3.5 years, or 1,260 days. Okay, so we're over here in America, right? And pretty much it had been feeding us, as the bishops and them say, taking care of us, right? Like I said, it started over there in Egypt with the Virgin Mary. But now you notice they're taking back everything, right? Food stamps, housing, all right? Even people who own houses, they kicking them out, right? Their jobs. So, in the 15th chapter, then it says he did what? Then out of the mouth of the serpent spouted forth water like a flood after the woman, so that she might be carried off with the flood. So we know that Pharaoh, when we was in Egypt, he came after us, right? With that army, that Antichrist army. And them lies he be telling, right? What I want to say, that false gospel, policies, everything. He's a liar. He lies about everything. Okay, this Caucasian man, you can't believe nothing he said. And as a result, what happened? The ground opened its mouth and swallowed up the stream of water which the dragon had spouted forth from his mouth. Okay, them lies. I see you. Yeah. And so then the dragon was furious and raged at the woman, and he went away to wage war on the remainder of her descendants, on those who obey God's commandments and who have the testimony of Jesus Christ and adhere to it and bear witness to him. So you have to be keeping God's commandments, all right? Old Testament as well as New. All right, people of God? Okay, so I was telling you about the eclipse. So what I'm going to move to next is going to be the 3 days of darkness. So in this dream, the Spirit of the Lord showed me pushing my daughter in the stroller. And he always showed me her being 4 years old. And he referred to her as a red-headed stepchild, because she didn't feel like she was loved, wanted, needed. She felt rejected. She felt ostracized, misunderstood. And I guess it could have been harder because, her sister was like 10 years older than her, and she was going through, things by herself, and she didn't have a sibling. Okay? But, I love Crystal very much, all right? And I poured more love into her than I did her sisters, because I knew she was going to be my last one. So while I was pushing her in the stroller, I noticed something alongside of the road, right? It was a bag, and I was going through it, looking at all the stuff in the bag, right? Lipstick in particular, the things that we as women get caught up with, right? We want to look nice, right? And while I was going through the bag, Crystal got up out of the stroller and began to wander, okay? This is what she's doing right now. Crystal is wandering. So I turned around and looked. And I told Crystal to get back in the stroke. So what I am going to address right now is, because I told you I was caught up in what was going on in the bag, right? And it caused her to wander because I took my eyes off of it, evidently, okay? Or I didn't pay attention because when I turned around and looked, I realized that darkness was coming in sooner than what I thought it was going to come in. This is when I told her to get back in the stroke, in case I left that out. So right here, I'm going to read from Mark, the 4th chapter, and it's going to deal with the sower and the seed. And I'm only going to read verses 7 and 18. The 7th verse says this here. Other seed of the same kind fell among thorn plants, and thistles grew and pressed together and utterly choked and suffocated it, and it yielded no grain. This particular seed. There's thorns out there. There are thistles, okay? These people, okay, that get in our way, all right? And a lot of times they are distractions to choke the word. They come in for the word, and I got one like that in my life. And his name is Joe. He is an extremely wicked and evil man. And you must remember that when Jesus was speaking of Judas, he never addressed Judas as a man, okay? He said, I chose 12 of you, and he said, one of you is a devil. You better listen, and you better listen to that one good, okay? You better let it marinate, because this man is a devil. All right? So let's get over here to the 18th verse. And those sown among the thorns are others who hear the word. They heard it, right? Then the cares and anxieties of the world and distractions of the age. No doubt you got a song out called Anxiety. I'm about to listen to it. And the distractions of the age, the impediments of this world, because they're making many of our people wretched, right? And the pleasure and delight and the glamour and deceitfulness of riches, the so-called cribs. Remember how people won't get what? Houses, cars, and lands, right? And the craving and passionate desire for other things creep in and choke and suffocate the word, and it becomes unfruitful. Okay, covetousness. That's the word, wow. There's no end to it, It's something that we all have to battle and struggle with, even me, okay? So we can't let this world come in, choke, and suffocate the word, and it become fruitless, okay? We don't bring forth any fruit because you can't tell no difference between us and the world at this point, all right? Now, so I told Crystal to get back in the stroller when I saw nighttime coming in, right? Darkness falling sooner than what I thought it was going to fall. So the scene switches from here to me and her in the car, okay? And we're going down the road. Crystal is adult at this time, and she is the one driving. Okay, she finally grows up, okay? She's no longer wandering. And it was so dark outside, let me tell you. It scared me, okay? I am a John Coffey type of woman. And when I say that, I mean it, okay? I do not like the dark whatsoever. And it was so dark out there, trust me. As it said over here in the book of Exodus, it was a darkness that could be felt. So I'm going to get over here where it's dealing with these plagues in Exodus, the 10th chapter. And I'm going to start at the 20th verse. But the Lord made Pharaoh's heart more strong and obstinate, and he would not let the Israelites go. Like this man I'm dealing with, nothing changes him. Okay, no matter what is said to him, he becomes more obstinate. Now, in dealing with your leaders, let me tell you this here. He got the message. He ain't saying it in so many words or too often, but his actions is showing it. Because they're kicking these immigrants out of the country, which are our family members in case you didn't know it, okay? the Mexicans, the Hispanics, the people down in Colombia, all these people in the islands, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Cubans, okay, the people from Guatemala, the Panama, okay, like I said, all them people down in the islands, these are your family members, all right? And I know some of you got straight hair and you want to say you ain't black, but Donald Trump is showing you better than I can tell you. Okay? And even you blacks here in America want to say that those ain't your family members. When you are out here ratting and producing children by other race of women that's coming out with the straight hair with melanin in their skin, just like them. Okay? And they're out here. They're hanging you, drowning you, shooting you because you black, stealing your organs, while you think what's happening to them ain't going to happen to you, all right? And it's already starting on a small level. And it's going to get worse, okay? They're just dealing with them first, all right? And the military is coming for you too, in case you didn't know, all right? God already showed it to me. And 3 things he mentioned to me: the KKK, the Nazis, and white supremacist groups. And also the skinheads stuck out, all right? And I already had an encounter with this guy. I was in my car sleeping, dreaming about him. And he knocked on my car and woke me up out of my sleep. Okay, and God already let me know that he had been sent there to kill me. But that particular day, love said not so. I'm just telling you, you better wake up. All right? And I am going to read. Keep reading. Okay, I'm sorry. At the 21st verse. And the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward the heavens, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, a darkness which may be felt. I told you I could feel it. So Moses stretched out his hand toward the sky, and for 3 days a thick darkness was all over the land of Egypt. The Egyptians could not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days, while all the Israelites had natural light in their dwellings. So we won't have to worry about anything, right? Now, there's this guy on YouTube. His name is Yawan, Y-A-W-A-N, and the name of the song is called Final Passover, all right? And in it, he says, go in your house, shut your door, and you better not come out. Because this is going to be the 3 days of darkness when God is going to be killing all the firstborn of these spiritual Egyptians, okay? Over there who's in Egypt, near Samaria. He's going to kill all their firstborn, not only here, all around the world, because we scattered all throughout the world, okay? You know, and they're killing and persecuting our people in China, in Russia, okay? Over there in Israel, right? Even in Africa, in certain places of Africa. Even in dealing with these, what you call these people, these Arabs, okay? They're showing it. So I told you that me and my daughter was in the car, right? And she was driving. And I couldn't see anything, just like they couldn't. But I happened to look off to my right, and I saw this exit ramp. And the only reason why I noticed it is because I saw the headlights. It was 3 cars coming off of the exit ramp. And when I saw it, I said, Crystal, follow the headlights, because we was getting ready to move out. Okay? All right. So, in dealing with the 24th verse, and Pharaoh called to Moses and said, go serve the Lord. Let your little ones also go with you. It is only your flocks and your herds that must not go. So, of course, Moses didn't leave anything behind, okay? We left with everything that pertained to us, all right? So, people of God, our salvation is nearer than what we previously thought it was, okay? And even right now, your leaders, when they see the smoke and stuff coming in, they tell you go in your house and shut your door. That's your key right there. And it will be a Passover event. As in the song, Final Passover tells you, okay? So, again, this is the 3 days of darkness.